Well, I never thought I'd have to say this, but it seems that my podcast, it's still around. My original podcast that I created through Anchor.fm before it became Spotify or Podcast for Spotify, Podcasters for Spotify or Spotify Podcasters. Yeah, it's still around. Unfortunately, I can't log into it. Now you might ask why. Well, it's quite simple. It's quite simple. It's because when I first logged into it, first created it, it was through Twitter. And for some odd reason, it looks like Spotify and Twitter have gone their separate ways. Now that Twitter is X, it's owned by Elon Musk, it seems that Spotify and Twitter have gone their separate ways. Yeah. So what you see here in the description, basically, is pretty much, I guess you could say, a successor to the original. A successor to the original. Now, if I can ever get back onto the other one, then I'll still continue with that. Because, I was doing very well. I was doing actually very well. But it looked like to me for some reason that, Spotify, now that they have Anchor.fm under their belt, was causing the podcasting to go through a lot of different changes. And one of the things they took away was the opportunity to monetize almost instantly through ads and all that. So basically what that means now is I gotta wait. I gotta, get listeners and followers and all that, in a different manner. Now I don't know if this is like a reboot of the situation of what's going on, but yeah, basically I've had to start over again. But like I said, my original podcast is still out there. It's just more along the lines of now I have to basically, continue with this successor, kind of continue, with a, kind of a season 2 under basically pretty much the same name, but just start all over, if you will. Now, does that mean, I've lost everything? No, because like I said, my other channel is still around. It's just I can't log into it because the way I logged into it originally was through Twitter. And for anybody that's used Twitter to create the podcast when it was under the Anchor.fm name, pretty much, anybody that's done that like I have, now have to pretty much start all over again. They have to start all over again. I mean, I could look at Twitter and see exactly if maybe my email could help out. Because I know when you go onto Twitter, you have to have an email and everything to do it. So, right now my computer is loading, if you will. So it's loading right now. It does that at times. Has that ever happened to you? You'd go on the computer and it's like, well, I want to do this. Oh, well, we can't let you load just yet because we're still doing this, we're still doing that and everything. Have you ever gone through that? Yeah, it's loading right now. It's like the loading always seems to, prevent you from going any further. It's like, wait, let me do a little update here, or wait, let's do a little virus scan. I've said it before, they need to basically put like little notifications up saying, hey, don't use your computer for at least 10-15 minutes because we're doing this. They do that, it'd be much easier. But anyway, getting back on point, I have to look at what the email is for my Twitter, my X account, if you will, and see if maybe that might help out, because if it does, then I'll be okay. But it's like, seriously, is there somebody over at Spotify that doesn't like Elon Musk or something? I don't know. It's like, you think they would throw, information. I didn't even get no information. Nothing. In any of the emails I have, I didn't get no information that they were going to do this. That X was basically disassociating themselves from Spotify and, vice versa. I didn't get no notification. But like I said, I guarantee you that I'm not the only one that signed into Anchor.fm, before Spotify, purchased it, with their Twitter account to create a podcast. I guarantee you I'm not. And it's just unfortunate that now, even though my other podcast is still existing, I just can't get into it So now I have to start all over. So what I've done is I went to my Gmail account, used my Google account, I should say, use that. And now I'm basically starting, pretty much the successor, the pseudo season, if you will, season 2, that is, of my podcast and everything. It's just, I'm telling you, it's just one of those situations to where you gotta roll with the punches. You just gotta roll with the punches, and it's just crazy. It's just crazy and everything to know that what you work on, pretty much is now pretty much out of your hands. It's out of your hands, even though it's right there for you to listen to and everything. It's pretty much, out of your control. Now, like I said, I'm going to look up, see what the email is on my Twitter account, see if that might help. But if not, then, well, the link you'll see down here is pretty much how you're going to be able to tune into my Spotify from now, my podcast again. It's basically it's the same podcast as before. It's just basically, kind of a revamp, a new season, if you will. I mean, I was close, guys. I was close to 1,000, and I mean 1,000 episodes, podcast episodes on there, and all of a sudden, poof, bye-bye. It's like what? It's like, what's going on here? It's crazy. But yeah, that definitely feels like what it is. That because when you go and log in, you can log in either through an email and everything that you utilize, or logging in with, let's say, Facebook or Google or Apple. But what's interesting is I looked at those and I'm like, none of this has Twitter. Now there is other options there, though. There is other options, and I don't know if Twitter is under the megaphone option. I have to look at that. If it is, I'd be totally surprised. But yeah, unfortunately right now, my original podcast is still around. My original podcast series is still around. It's just I can't log in to add on new episodes. So now I'm basically adding episodes on to basically, pretty much a spin-off, a successor, which is under the same name as before, and everything. It's just kind of like a revamp, a season 2, a soft reboot, if you will. But yeah, from what I can tell, it looks like Twitter and Spotify have pretty much parted ways for the time being. And again, like I said, for anybody that pretty much has gotten onto Anchor.fm before Spotify purchased it, to create a podcast, and they used their Twitter, to do so before Twitter became X. Well, like me, you're pretty much stuck in a situation that you can't get out of unless you figure out a way out of it. And like I said, I'm going to check out the email connected to the Twitter account and see if maybe that might help. And if it does, I'll let you know in a separate video. But yeah, it's just one of those situations to where now the link in the description pretty much will tell you that, yeah, this is where you need to go to check things out. But let me know what your thoughts are, guys. Comment down below. I know I sound like I was all over the place here, but I just wanted to get this out here to let you know that for those of you that are following my podcast, video, audio podcast through Spotify and all that, just letting you know that pretty much I'm now doing the same one. It's just a bit of a soft reboot, revamp, thanks to the fact that apparently Spotify and Twitter, have gone their separate ways due to either agreement expiring or because Elon Musk is running X or something. But yeah, just let you know and let you know about that. And again, for anybody that, like me, created their podcast via Anchor.fm before it was purchased by Spotify, and they did the same thing I did, use Twitter to do so. Yeah, you're probably, if you don't know it yet, you're probably going to have to create a new podcast unless you find a way to get around that. But until next time, guys, let me know what your thoughts are. And until then, I am out.